There's 3 steps to selling on Amazon, and we're going to go into all 3 of these steps completely in depth. This is the only video on Amazon you'll ever need. I'm going to put everything you need to know about how to sell on Amazon in this one video. So the 3 steps are: first, find a product. If you're going to be selling on Amazon, you need to know exactly what you're going to be selling. And I'm going to tell you how to find a product to sell, how to make sure it's a good product, make sure that it actually will make sales. But once you found a product, the next step is to list your product on Amazon. This is the listing for my main product, the main product that I sell on Amazon. And it's really simple to do, but I'm going to give you some hints, a few secrets on how to properly list your product. And then the third thing is launch your product, because after you've listed it on Amazon, what you're going to want to do is try to get as many sales as quickly as possible. Get as many 5-star reviews as quickly as possible. Now, the rest of this tutorial is going to be a lot more in depth. That's just a quick overview on how to sell on Amazon. And this is going to be an A to Z complete guide on how to sell on Amazon. And you're going to go from a beginner to an expert in this one video. So what am I going to share in this video? Well, this is going to be everything in one place. I know you can find everything you need to know about how to sell on Amazon on YouTube. There is so many videos on YouTube, but my goal is to make this one video the only video you'll ever need on how to sell on Amazon. Like, this will be everything that's out there, like the condensed version of everything out there. That's what I'm planning on putting in this video. So I'm also going to go over all the different Amazon business models. There's more than one way to make money off of Amazon. So I'm going to share the top 4 ways to make money off of Amazon FBA, including what my favorite model is. And this is something that my favorite way of making money off of Amazon is something that nobody else is doing. Well, I should say other people are doing it, but nobody's teaching it. And I'll talk a little bit about why I think that is. I think it's a secret that a lot of people that are making money doing this, they're trying to hold to themselves. But to be honest, this is something that I think is worth sharing. So I'll share my personal business model, but I'll share all the different business models so you decide what's best for you. The new Amazon opportunity. So that's another thing I'm going to share here. I call it private labeling 2.0. Basically, if you've heard about private labeling, this is the next step in selling on Amazon. I think this is going to be the next big gold rush. Like I said here, private labeling 2.0. And there's also, I'm going to share with you a new way to find products. If you've done any research on Amazon FBA before, you've probably heard of things like Jungle Scout or Viral Launch or maybe even Helium 10, which can be kind of expensive. And that's a way a lot of people try to use to find products. I'm going to share a new method. Again, nobody's really talking about, and I think once you hear it, it actually makes a lot of sense. Talk about my launch strategy. So my product, I'm going to share some numbers. I'm going to share my story in just a second. My product does about $40,000 revenue a month. And it's all because the way I launched it. Now, my launch strategy is different from anything else out there. It's about how to create a product launch group. And that is a way that you can get a ton of sales right away and a ton of reviews, which is what you want. Because the way to make a lot of money off of Amazon is by having a really big initial launch. Because if you have a big launch from the beginning, Amazon knows that you have a winning product and it's more likely to put it higher up in search. And I will share with you a detailed income report, including my revenue and actual profit. So I'm gonna share all my expenses, get into the nitty gritty. I know a lot of people on YouTube, they only ever share their revenue, which I think is bogus because it makes it sound like people are doing a lot of money when they're not actually doing as well as they're saying they are. So I'm gonna share with you an income report. And finally, the last thing I'm going to share with you is I have an Amazon FBA course. I'm going to share with you how to get my Amazon FBA course for free. And I'll share that at the end of the video. This isn't, I think this is something really big that I can offer you. And I really need to get some testimonials. I need to get some success stories for my course. And that's why I'm able to and willing to offer my detailed Amazon FBA course for free. But to be completely honest, this video will have most of the information you need, pretty much almost all the information you need to get started on Amazon. So let's jump into it. So again, what are you going to learn? The different business models here. I've got retail arbitrage, wholesale, private label, create your own product, how to find a product, how to make a brand, A lot of people are launching on Amazon without properly branding. We're going to talk about what do successful brands have in common and how can you make your product into a successful brand. How to create raving fans. This is another big thing because when you go to launch, you want to already have people that are interested in your product. You want to create a business here. Now, a lot of people that are private labeling, they're not really creating a brand. They're not really creating raving fans. I'm going to tell you how to do this, and it's really simple. Once you hear it, you're gonna kick yourself for not figuring this out on your own. Next is how to test your idea and raise money. A lot of people tell me, Travis, I don't have enough money to start an Amazon business. I don't have enough money to buy products. That's fine. I didn't have a lot of money when I started. I actually raised money using a Kickstarter, and I'm going to talk more about that later in this video and how you can test out your idea before you ever spend a dime. How to find a manufacturer. A lot of people are nervous when if you're creating your own product or you're private labeling, they're not sure how to find a manufacturer. I'm going to go over in detail how to do that, how to create your listing. Like I said, there's a lot of tricks, like how to make a proper title, how to make the bullet points look good, how to take good images, all that different stuff. We're going to go over all that. And of course, we're going to talk about how to launch a product. Some questions I'm going to answer as well. So these things that might be bugging you. How much time do you need? How much money do you need? How long will it take? How much can you make from this? How do I know if my product will sell? All the different what ifs and like, what do you do after launch? So all these questions, all these different points I'm going to talk about in this one video. So just to introduce myself, my name is Travis Marziani. I've been selling on Amazon for a little while here. So this is a goofy picture of me last summer. I'll talk a little bit more about this, but last summer I was in Italy. I was doing some traveling, and this is a super goofy picture of me. So a little bit about my story. I was stuck in the corporate world for about 2 years. I had a corporate job. I ended up, basically hitting my version of rock bottom. I got really depressed. I hated my life. Towards the last few months of my corporate job, I was pretty much the lowest point of my life, and I didn't really know what the solution was until one day I quit my job. And this is actually a picture I had someone take outside. I was living in Chicago at the time, and I was flying to Michigan, and I had someone take a picture of me, and you can see there's snow on the ground. I'm from California. I'm not used to there being snow. Anyways, this was the last day of my job, and because I'd gotten so depressed, I ended up quitting my job to start my first online company, which is called B Dancewear. It's still around. It still exists. It's a dance clothing company that I started with my mom. And, the truth is I struggled with that company. I started that company about 6-7 years ago. And for 3, 4, 5 years, I was struggling trying to make that company work. And then I heard about Amazon FBA. And, I was hearing about a lot of people that were having a ton of success with Amazon. And I thought, it can't be that easy, can it? Well, it's not easy. I'm not gonna BS you. I'm not saying that making money off Amazon is easy, but I'm gonna tell you what, it was a lot easier than anything else I ever tried. When I was doing this dance clothing company, that was a huge pain in the butt. Amazon has been a lot easier. So I heard about Amazon FBA, and I decided to start this company, Performance Nut Butter. So basically what I did is I went onto Instagram and I went onto Facebook and I started marketing this idea. So before I ever spent a dime, I created an Instagram and a Facebook account for this Performance Nut Butter idea. And I tried to see if people were interested. I ended up eventually raising about $15,000 on Kickstarter, barely spending any money for that Kickstarter. Most of them, basically, I raised enough money there to pay for most of my first inventory. And just before we get into it, here is my revenue and profit. So in the last year and a half, I did about, you can see here, about a little over $600,000 revenue. There's all these different costs. That's the cost of my product. That's the fees for selling on Amazon, transaction fees, everything. And in the last year and a half, I netted about a little over $200,000, which I am really happy with. After I made all that money, I ended up doing a lot of traveling here. But this is stuff. I mean, this is the cool thing about all this traveling was while I was doing this traveling, my business was still making money. But enough about me. So the whole point of this video is I want to create a roadmap for you, like a step-by-step guide on how to make money off of Amazon. And I'm going to show you like how to avoid all the traps up here, how to avoid all like the mistakes that I made and like actually the correct route to take. This is going to be a really detailed guide. So now that we're warmed up, let's go over some of the things you're going to learn today, and then we're going to jump right into it. So everything you need to know to start selling on Amazon. You're going to learn the different ways to sell on Amazon. You're going to basically get my passion product formula in full. And finally, I'm going to talk about some common mistakes that cost me thousands of dollars. So how does Amazon FBA work? You might be wondering after all this talking. Well, basically, you send your product to Amazon fulfillment centers. They hold it, they store it, and then when they get an order, when a customer purchases your product, Amazon picks it and packs it and ships your product to the customer. So just to explain, just so you get this right, you're selling products through Amazon, but they're doing all the hard work. They're doing the shipping. They have it on their website. Like, people naturally go to Amazon to buy products, and Amazon's going to pick it and pack it. That's what makes it. FBA means fulfilled by Amazon. So the fulfillment, the shipping is all done by Amazon. So like I said, Amazon delivers the product to the customer. You don't have to deal with this. With my first company, B Dancewear, I had to deal with shipping to the customers. I had to deal with the manufacturing and the storing of the products, all that stuff. So the first thing we're going to go over here is the different business models. And there's 4 different business models that are you commonly see on the internet. The first one is retail arbitrage, and we're going to go over all 4 of these in depth. Next one is wholesale, private label, and create your own product. So these are 4 different ways that you can make money off of Amazon. Now, it's up to you. I have my own opinion on how to make money off of Amazon, but I'm going to tell you all 4 of these, and then you decide which way is best for you. So the first one is retail arbitrage. Basically, you buy discount items. You might go to a store that's going out of business, buy items for really cheap, and flip them on Amazon. So let's say your local Walmart is going out of business. Not that Walmart would, but whatever. Some discount store is going out of business, and they have 50 boxes of Post-it notes, and you decide that you're going to flip them on Amazon. Now, the benefit of this is it's very low risk because you're buying these boxes of Post-it notes for $1. You know they sell on Amazon for $10. Well, it's pretty low risk. You might as well try it out, right? That is one of the benefits. It's also a low amount of cash needed. You might only need however much it costs you to buy your product. Now, the downside of this is it's not scalable. A lot of people ask me what I think about retail arbitrage. I personally would never touch it because you're playing with small amounts of money here. You're having to go out to stores, you're having to find discounts, and you're having to flip it on Amazon yourself. And it's also really not reliable. You might not have any local businesses that are going out of business. You might not have any way to get inventory. So for me personally, I do not recommend retail arbitrage. Overall, I think it's a really bad business model. Now, you may disagree with me. The rest of this video will still help you no matter what kind of model you're doing on Amazon. But trust me, I think some of the other business models I'm going to talk about make more sense. So the next one is wholesale. So wholesale, you buy items wholesale. Basically, you might go to, let's say Nike. Nike's probably not the best example because they don't really do this too often, but just because Nike is a brand name that we all know, you buy items from Nike at half off, right? And then you sell them on Amazon. You know that you can buy them from Nike for $30 and you can sell them on Amazon for $60, and that after all the fees and everything, you're going to have a profit of, let's say, $10. Now, it's relatively easy. All you have to do is find reliable reliable manufacturers that you can buy wholesale from. Now, one of the reasons Nike is not a good example of this is because everybody knows about Nike. So you're going to have to go out there and find products that other people don't know about. It's pretty saturated and there's high competition. A lot of people are doing this business model right now. And I think this is one of the business models that used to work really well. And I don't think it works as well as it used to work. Also, you know what? There's nothing stopping if you're buying products from a manufacturer. Again, let's use the example of Nike. Let's say you're buying products from Nike. One day Nike might get wise of this and they might start selling on Amazon directly. So it's not a long-term business model in my mind. Now, if you want to make some quote unquote quick cash, maybe this is a way to test out the waters. But I think the next model might be a little bit better, and that's private labeling. So private labeling is where you find a winning product. You find something that people are buying. Maybe you find something like, a toothpaste. This is, again, probably not the best, or shampoo. Shampoo is a good example. You find shampoo and you create your own private label of that. So you create your own version of shampoo. Maybe you realize that There's some kind of special, you're going to make an oatmeal shampoo because it's going to be a vegan oatmeal shampoo, and you want to create your own private label of this brand. Now, and you sell it on Amazon. Now, one of the problems is it's kind of hard to find a product to private label. Another thing is it's relatively expensive to start. So that's another con. I also think typical private labeling is very saturated and there's really high competition. So what most people do is they find shampoo and they just make their own version of shampoo. Now, if you're just making another shampoo, there's nothing stopping other people from doing the same thing. And you're going to see this if you start doing some research on private labeling. I had a friend actually that they found a winning product and they went and they bought it. And by the time it got from China over to the US, there was already 18 other people selling that exact same product. So again, in my opinion, private labeling used to work. It doesn't really work as well as it used to. So like I said, it used to work well, not so much anymore. So let's get into private labeling 2.0. And that's creating your own product. This is going to be the next big gold rush on Amazon. This is the thing. If you get one thing out of this video, start thinking about how to create your own product. So how do you create your own product? Well, you create your own product. You basically find something that doesn't yet exist in the world, doesn't yet exist on Amazon. It doesn't have to be mind-blowing. Again, my product is, I call it performance nut butter. It's a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter. Basically, I took a blend of nuts that did not already exist and I created better branding and marketing than what everyone else was doing. And then I started to sell it on Amazon. Another benefit you can see here is you can sell it on Amazon and on Shopify. So Shopify is basically a way for you to create your own website. So you can create your own website because it's great to make money off of Amazon, but you want the security that comes with Shopify as well. There's pretty much no to very low amounts of cash to start. And the reason for that is you can raise money by doing a crowdfunding campaign, by doing Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But unlike all these other business models, I'd say you don't necessarily need a ton of money to start. Now, it does help. Money always helps. If you have money, then you might be able to do some of these things faster or with less work. But generally speaking, by creating your own product and following what I call the passion product formula, you don't need a lot of money because you can crowdfund. You can get other people to pay for your product before it exists. We're going to talk about that in a second. No competition. If you're creating a product that doesn't exist, it's not saturated. There's no competition. It's the best possible market to be in. You own the market too, right? When I launched Performance Nut Butter, I was the first one to have a premium nut butter product like that. And I know some people out there are laughing at the term nut butter, but bear with me here. Basically, it's healthy fat on the go. So it takes creativity. Now, that is one thing to say. That's the downside. That's probably the only downside is if you consider yourself not a creative person, this may be more challenging. Now, I have strategies on how to come up with a winning product idea. I have strategies on how to come up with your own product, how to do all the marketing, all that kind of stuff. So even if you think I'm not a creative type of person, don't worry. Just stick with me here. I'm going to explain how to come up with an idea. Okay, really quick before we go further. Creating your own product is a bit of a spectrum, right? There's unique, there's branded, and there's passion products. So by creating your own product, if it's unique, that's great. That's the first step. The next step is branding it. So if you can create your own product and it has a good brand, that's more likely to be successful. Now, to me, the perfect type of product is a passion product, and that's something that's unique, that's branded, and something that you're passionate about. Now, I was very passionate, and I still am passionate about the health and nutrition space. I'm passionate about healthy fat. I'm passionate about high quality fuel. Like, I like to eat healthy, and I wanted to create a product for myself. So if you can create a product to sell on Amazon, to sell on the internet that you really believe in, marketing is easy. Let's go to my example. When I was working for my first company, B Dancewear, it was a dance clothing company. I wasn't passionate about it. I had some success with it, but I really struggled. And the reason was I didn't understand the market. I didn't care about the market. So I'm going to talk about some strategies on how to create a product that you're passionate about. So what is a passion product? Well, I already kind of went into detail, but here's some examples. Again, Nike, probably familiar with this brand. But if you don't know, Phil Knight was actually a track and field star. And his co-owner, the co-founder of this company, was obsessed with shoes. his autobiography is called Shoe Dog. And the reason it's called Shoe Dog is that's a term given to people that are obsessed with shoes. You want to be like that. You want to find that product that you're obsessed with because it's going to be a success. If you're obsessed with this idea, if you really want it to be successful, if you really believe in the product, of course it's going to be successful. Apple computers, you may have heard of it. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, they were so passionate about this idea. There was no question it was going to be a success because they knew that this was going to be the next big thing. They believed deep in their core. And the last one I'll talk about here is Brain Quicken. If you've ever heard of Tim Ferriss and you wonder how he made all the money that he made in the early days, it was from Brain Quicken. And Brain Quicken was a supplement that was basically a nootropic. So it helped improve your cognitive function. And this was something that Tim Ferriss was passionate about, something that he knew more than other people in, and he was really good at marketing. And so you can see most of the products that you interact with are passion products. And a lot of people now that are teaching on how to sell on Amazon are teaching gimmicky ways about, find some product that's doing well and just copy it. That's not a long-term solution for success. Passion products is. So I want to help you for free. Because I'm looking to get some success stories. So I've just launched a course, and I'm going to talk more about that later. And I've launched the beta version of the course. I'm planning on launching the full version of the course later on. And when I go to launch the full version, I want to have it packed full with as many successful people as possible. I'm in this for the long game. So part of the reason I'm putting this video out for free is I'm hoping a year from now, you're going to email me and say, hey, I followed your method and I made $1 million. I'm hoping that you take my course for free, which I'll explain how to do later in this video. And I'm hoping that you obviously take the course and you'll be a testimonial for me. But honestly, it just gives me a lot of joy. I struggled for a long time figuring this out. And I really wish someone would have grabbed me and pulled me up higher onto the mountain. And I wish I didn't have to struggle as hard as I did. So that's part of the reason why I'm willing to give back. I'm not in this. A lot of people I think are in this to make a ton of money. You know what the truth is? I want to change people's lives. I want to make people have an easier time finding success than I did. In all honesty, if I do that, I know the money will come. I'm not in this for the short term, like, hey, buy my course and then, it's some junk course. No, I'm in this for the long game. So private labeling is dead. I want to get this really clear. If you've done any research on Amazon, you've probably found this out. Private labeling, or you've probably found that people are still teaching private labeling. And I want to really quickly, before we move on, I'm going to explain why private labeling is dead. So the first thing is it's oversaturated. All those people that are teaching private labeling, part of the reason they're teaching it and they're no longer doing it so much is because it's kind of oversaturated. It's a lot harder than it used to be. China is also now, basically they can make products for so cheap, they can private label. They don't need you. It used to be that they didn't really know about this opportunity that Amazon was, and there was like a brief window of time where it was really easy. Now China can do that. You know what China can't do? They can't create a passion product. They can't create the next Nike. You know why? Because people here, especially in the US, they want to buy from other people that are in the US. And if you're in the US, you know about needs that other people don't know. So China's great at copying, which is basically what private labeling is. They're not yet good at the creativity, and they probably never will be because they live in a different culture, and they're not going to make products for the American market as well as an American can. And then the last thing is Amazon Basics. So Amazon Basics is basically Amazon's version of private labeling. When they find a private label product that's doing really well, they copy it. So they found out that batteries, for instance, were selling really crazy. So they made their own private label of batteries. And I had a friend that was selling backpacks, for instance, and Amazon basically took his manufacturer, copied his backpack like to the T, started selling it for half the price. So Amazon Basics makes it so private labeling is dead. Amazon Basics is never going to private label a performance nut butter because I have a brand. I have something that's too niche for them. And it's something that really takes like an Instagram marketing campaign. It takes like a lot more than Amazon's willing to do. Amazon goes for those boring private label things. So these are 3 reasons why private labeling is dead. So let's get into it a little bit. If you really want to learn more about private labeling versus creating your own product, I'll put a link down below and I'll put like a little link up here to a video I did comparing private labeling to creating your own product so you can get into more depth. For the rest of the video, I'm going to share techniques that work for both private labeling and creating your own product, but really, I think the winner for this is creating your own product. So let's jump in. So again, here are the 4 different business models: retail arbitrage, wholesale, private label, and creating your own product. To me, this is the clear winner. And yeah, I'm biased. But the reason I'm biased is because I did a lot of research and I figured out what worked and I did it and it has worked for me. And I think it can work for you too. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about here is how to find a product. Now, do me a favor. If you've liked this video so far, hit that like button. If you leave a comment down below and are a subscriber, every month I pick 3 winners to win a free consulting session. And I know this is a long video. You can always hit 2x speed if it's going too slow for you, or you can always come back if you need to. But I recommend sit through this. You don't need to take notes the first time. The second, third, fourth time you watch this video, then you can take notes. So let's talk about how to find a product. So our goals are to find profitable products that have high sales volume, low to no competition, and we're going to use custom branding. Also, we're going to get the product shipped over into Amazon. This is going to make it so you don't have to deal with like fulfilling it to the customers or anything. Next thing we're going to do, and this is later on, we're going to optimize the listing. And of course, we're going to launch that product to page 1. So there's a lot of goals we got for ourselves right here. So let's talk about some stuff here. Some criteria on creating a good product. It needs to have high sales, low competition. It needs to be lightweight, brandable, room for improvement, unique, consumable, viral, and premium. A big part of selling a winning product is you want to sell something that is premium. A lot of people make a mistake of trying to have the cheapest product. It's much better to have the best product, because when you have the best product, you can charge a lot for it. You're going to have the better margins. It's overall, trust me on this. These are all things that are important to consider. I'll talk more about these later. Viral is another thing. If you can find a product that has some viral potential, it doesn't have to be a huge amount of viral potential. It could be like my product, for instance. If someone sees someone else eating a pouch of nut butter, they're going to be like, "What is that?" And that's something that might spread. It's something I didn't add on here. I'm just going to put there is you want something that actually has some basically it's trending upwards. So I found that the high fat, healthy fat, the keto movement, all that kind of stuff was trending upwards. People were starting to be interested in it, and I wanted to ride that wave. And I think don't get me wrong, this isn't a short-term thing. You don't want to, do the next fidget spinner or anything like that. You want to find the thing, what's the trend that society is moving towards, in what direction? So let's go next. We have how to find products to sell on Amazon. So one thing is Jungle Scout, and I'll put a link down below to Jungle Scout. I do think Jungle Scout has value, especially if you're private labeling. I've never used it, to be honest with you. I've never used it to find a product because I haven't needed it. There's a free version of Jungle Scout. So if you go to Jungle Scout's website, and you can find the free Jungle Scout sales estimator. So you find products out there that are similar to the idea that you have. Once again, if you're creating your own passion product, there's not going to be anything exactly like it. My product, for instance, didn't exist. There wasn't a performance nut butter. There wasn't a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter. But there was other nut butter products out there. There was other keto-friendly snacks. So I looked at those. I estimated their sales. And I said, hey, this is a cool category to be in. There's another trick where you can, if you see a similar product, you put it into your shopping cart, you put the number to $9.99 and then click update, and it will tell you how many of that product this person has in stock. And if you do that, see, like you can see here, it says this seller only has 141 of these available. And if you do that day after day after day, you can see how quickly it's selling. Not a perfect method, but it can work. So how do you find a passion product? So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, if you're serious about finding your own winning product, start writing down one idea a day. Every day before you go to bed or first thing when waking up. And don't judge your idea. It doesn't matter how good or bad the idea is. Just get in the habit of flexing that muscle, that creativity muscle. I come up with new ideas all the time because that's just how I've trained my brain to work. So you're going to train your brain to find new ideas. The next thing you're going to do here is think about how can you improve items? So like how can you look at what you use during the day? Look at every single thing you use during the day and think, what would make this a 10 out of 10 experience? How could this item be better? Like I'm looking at my keyboard right now, for instance, and I'm thinking, you know what? Some ways it might be better is if it was a little bit softer for my palms or, whatever weird things. There's gaming keyboards. There's all kinds of different things. Everything you're interacting with, ask yourself, how could this be a little bit better? And eventually you might find a winning product. Also, look at the activities you're doing. What are you really interested in? I like jujitsu, for instance. Okay, what are some things that I could do that would make jujitsu better? Maybe it's coming up with a better gi. Maybe it's coming up with better gis, the uniform you wear in jujitsu, just in case you were wondering there. It's coming up with better training materials, something like that. Every activity that you're really interested in, every time you do something, ask yourself, what would make this experience better? That's how people find success. The next thing I want you to do is look over your credit card statements. Where do you spend money? Where do you spend more money than other people do? For instance, for me, I like to spend money on healthy food. I really believe that the food that you put into your body is your fuel. And I noticed that not everybody spends as much money on food as I do. Well, okay, that's what I'm interested in. So maybe I should create a product around that. I know a lot of people struggle figuring out what their passion is, but if you follow this, if you look at your credit card statements, if you look at what activities you're doing, you'll easily figure out what your passion is and you'll be able to find a product around it. Now, in my course, I do have a lot more tools. I actually have like a complete tool that will get to the bottom of what your passion is and how to turn it into a product. But for now, this is like enough to get you up and running. Also, another little thing is, what do you search for? So next time you go to Amazon and you search for a product and there's no product that meets that requirement, that's a sign. That's a sign to buy that you should maybe create that product. For instance, I was searching for herbal teas, like herbal teas that are in bags, and I didn't like any of the herbal teas on Amazon. Now, I've already got a business, but that's a free idea for you. Because I like to go to coffee shops and sometimes they don't have good herbal teas, and I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine. So I sometimes have brought my own tea bags. My girlfriend will get a coffee and I'll just ask for some hot water and I'll make a nice herbal tea. But on Amazon, all the teas kind of suck. If there was a good herbal tea that's in a bag that was premium and really marketed towards maybe entrepreneurs, that's really niched down, or marketed to me in some ways, I'd probably buy it. And I'll have a list of ideas, of even more ideas later in this video. So if you're still stuck and you still don't have an idea, don't worry. We're going to come back to this. Just keep watching this video, because I recommend watching this entire video and then going back and really kind of diving into the parts that didn't make as much sense. So next thing we're going to talk about is how to make a brand. And we got some pretty big brands here, and you'll notice they have some similarities. So why should you create a brand? Well, you're going to have more profit. Anytime you have a branded product, it leads to more profit because you can charge a higher price. It also leads to loyalty. People like to buy from the same brand over and over again. You see this a lot with Nike, for instance. There's some people that are Nike people and some people that are Adidas people. If you can create a strong brand, people are going to be loyal to that brand. For instance, my company, people buy it month after month. Even though there's other nut butters that come out, they like my brand. They don't want to take a chance on some other brand. So let's go over, we're going to do an overview of like naming and branding in just a second here. So how to brand overview. One of the first things you're going to want to do when creating a brand is create what I call, what a lot of people call an avatar. So who is the one person your brand is for? Your brand is not for everybody. Let's take Nike again as an example. Nike, when they first started, was only for I think it was even college or maybe high school track and field athletes. It was only for a very small set of people. They weren't selling gym shorts and all this different stuff. That was their avatar. Their avatar was a track and field athlete that's in high school or college. I forget which one off the top of my head here. That's what you need to do. Figure out who's that one person. For instance, for Performance Nut Butter, I was my own avatar. And ideally, you'd be your own avatar. So write out an avatar. See, really try to find a picture of what that person would look like. What kind of interests does that person have? Give a name to that person. You want to give a name to that avatar. And we're going to talk about like packaging. How do you brand and package your product properly? Because this packaging is going to be for this avatar. Like my product, I actually have it right here. My product is the perfect packaging for me. It's the perfect packaging for someone that's interested in high fuel, high performance. It's a premium looking product. This isn't for moms and kids. We're going to talk about what colors do really well, because again, like this, for example, the black has like a luxurious feel, where a red might stand out, have more of an aggressive feel. There's a lot of different color is very important in branding. So let's go over how to create a good brand. The first thing is a story. So Apple, for instance, two guys named Steve who started building personal computers in their parents' garage. A big part of a company is what's the story behind it. My story. I shared my story with you earlier on this video is, I was stuck in a corporate job, and it's a true story. Stuck in a corporate job. I got really depressed, and then I broke out of that. I found marketing, but I struggled in marketing, and I struggled with my e-commerce company, and eventually I found the holy grail that is Amazon, and I found even more specifically this passion product formula. So what is your story? We got Nike's story here. You can read this stuff if you want. Creed. So the creed is like, what's your slogan? Nike slogan's just do it. I'm still working on my slogan for my YouTube channel. You'll hear at the end of some of my videos, I say enjoy the journey, because I really do believe it's not just about making a lot of money. It's about like enjoying your life. So what's the creed behind your brand? Icon. Like, what is the symbol? So the Nike swoosh, American flag. People die for the American flag. Like, that's how powerful that symbol is. And obviously you're not going to create a symbol that powerful, but Nike is a good example of something that you recognize it right away. Mine, I got like the 3 little hexagons, performance nut butter. People see that and they know, oh yeah, that's performance nut butter. And you want to come up with an icon, a symbol, rituals. So this is another important thing to keep in mind. What are the rituals? Starbucks, there's a whole ritual. You wait in line. You talk to the barista, you say certain words, you wait in line again for them to create your order. The language, another example of language is, so actually really quick with rituals, you'll see on my channel, there's some kind of a rhythm to my videos. Usually on every Thursday, I release a new video. I'm going to start doing every Tuesday and Thursday, but every Thursday I release what I call a tactical vlog Thursday video. I have tactical vlog Thursdays where I release a video that's a vlog, but it shows the tactics on how to create a business. Tuesdays, I'm going to start doing tutorial Tuesdays. So again, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be doing all these videos. So that's the rituals, right? Like, if you're a subscriber to my channel, show up Thursday morning, you're going to get a video. Show up Tuesday morning, I haven't started this yet, you're going to get a video. Language, double tall, sugar-free, vanilla soy, extra hot latte. If you've never been to a Starbucks, this doesn't mean anything to you. But once you go to Starbucks, like, this language, and it's kind of like the insider lexicon. It's the words that people on the inside use. On my channel, passion product. If you ever hear another person saying the word passion product, you know that they've probably watched my video. You know that they're a fan of me. And you can probably right away say, oh, wow, you watch Travis Marziani's videos? Me too. Another thing is, enjoy the journey is pretty... it's words that I use, but it's not specific to me. There's other little languages like that you'll see in my videos. Anti-believers. Now, this is really important. Your brand is not for everybody. Like, look at Chevy versus Ford. People that like Ford hate Chevy, and people that like Chevy hate Ford. People that like Mac hate Windows, and vice versa. Your product's not for everyone. My product is not for people that like sugar. If you like sugary snacks and you like candy bars, guess what? You're going to hate my product, and that's okay with me. Like, I'm not making a product for you. I'm making a product for people that are looking to have an optimal source of fuel, to have the healthiest thing out there. So think about, who is your product not for? And that's equally as important as who is it for. For instance, on my YouTube channel is not for drop shippers. It's not even for private labelers. If you're a drop shipper, I think that is a gimmicky way to make money. I think it's something that doesn't work anymore. Maybe you could make some money with it, but it's not a long-term strategy. I'm all about helping people create brands and products that they're passionate about, business, like real businesses. So if you're a drop shipper, guess what? I'm sorry, but this is not the right channel for you. Hopefully I can convert you if you are a drop shipper, but I'm not going to be pandering to you. I'm going to tell you why drop shipping sucks, and I have videos on why drop shipping sucks. Lastly, the leader. So for my company, Performance Nut Butter, and for this YouTube channel, I'm the leader. For America, we have a president. It's actually Apple's a really good example of this. Steve Jobs. People like Apple sometimes just because they're so enamored with Steve Jobs. I know, to be completely blunt, I read his biography and it made me want to buy Apple products because I'm like, wow, this guy really believes in high quality stuff. Bill Gates is the leader of Microsoft on the other hand, and he's good for different reasons. Like if you believe in charity and all this kind of amazing stuff, which hopefully you do, you got him. So these are the 7 steps on how to create an amazing brand. And if you do all 7 of these steps and you create an amazing brand, guess what? You're going to dominate on the internet. You're going to dominate on Amazon. All right, again, if you like this video so far, hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you like about this video, what you don't like about this video. And remember, I am picking 3 people every month to give a free one-on-one consulting session to. So even if you see this video in the future, after even if it's like a few months from now, I'm always giving out these free consulting sessions. So comment, like, and make sure to be a subscriber for a chance to win. All right, next is how to create raving fans. Just because you have a great product, just because you have a great brand, doesn't mean a thing. You need to create people that love your product. Now, how are you going to do this? Well, one of the benefits, let's talk about why creating raving fans first. One of the benefits of creating raving fans is they're going to spread the word. They're going to tell their friends about it. Like, honestly, this is the best kind of marketing you can get, is when you create someone that wants to shout from the rooftops how great your product is. And I have some people like this for performance nut butter. Guess what? That's when people buy products. When your friend tells you, wow, I just bought a new nut butter, you got to go try it, you're more likely to try it than if you just see it on Instagram. They're also going to leave reviews. People always ask me, how do I get reviews on my products? You get people that really like your product. Like, you create raving fans before you ever even launch your product. I'm going to tell detailed strategies on how to do that later in this video. Again, I know this is a long video, but it's worth it. If I'm going too fast, you can always slow it down. If I'm going too quick, or if I'm going too slow, you can always do the 2x. So a product launch group. This is my secret to success. You want to get all the different people that are interested in your product into a Facebook group, ideally, or onto your Instagram page. There's different ways to do it. You want to get them into a Facebook group, and they're going to help you create an amazing product. Now, the way to do this, I recommend, is creating an Instagram for your brand, for your company, before you ever spend any money on production, before you buy your first unit that's been manufactured. Spend the time and energy to create an Instagram account. And this is going to be crucial, because if nobody follows your Instagram account and nobody cares about your Instagram account, people probably don't like your product. Now, Instagram isn't the only way to do it. You can create a YouTube channel, a podcast, a blog. You could go on Reddit. You could go in-person events. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But basically what you're going to start doing is doing the marketing for your product, testing out the idea, see if people are interested. Like I said here, blog, YouTube, podcast, Facebook, whatever you want to do, you can do it and start growing an audience before you ever spend any money on your product. And it's testing your market, and it's also building up an audience. Now, my method personally is Instagram. I give out free samples. So what I do is I say, hey, click the link down below to enter to win a free sample. I get their email. They got an email capture there. I email them personally, and I start having an interaction with them. And I really try to get to know them. This isn't a fake conversation. And this is important. You really want to start developing relationships with your potential customers, because they're going to help you make an amazing product, and they're going to help support your company. Eventually, I try to get them, or I ask them to join the product launch group. And the way I do this is say, hey, if you want a more of a chance to win a free product, join my product launch group in Facebook. Now, this is the key. The product launch group is the key here. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it that much in this video. I do have a video I'll link down below and up above about product launch groups. The short version is they help you develop the product, and it makes them invested in the product. So when you go to launch it on Kickstarter, when you go to launch it on Amazon, they're going to be the first ones in line to buy your product. I'll talk more. I think I talk more about the product launch group later in this video. If not, I'll link a video I did in detail about product launch groups. So test your idea and raise money. I know cash, you might be tight on cash, so let's go over how you can raise money for your product and how you can make sure that your product is a winning idea. So why should you do a Kickstarter before you launch on Amazon? Well, you can test your idea out. People might tell you that you have an amazing idea, and you can say to them, great, give me $20 and I'll give you the product. So it's a way for you to make sure that people actually care about your product. It's also a way for you to raise money. Like I showed earlier, I raised $15,000 for my product, Performance Nut Butter. I helped my girlfriend. I have a story about I helped my girlfriend start her own Amazon passion product company, and I helped her raise $5,000 on Kickstarter, which is a lot of money because her product was a lot cheaper than my product was. So why Kickstarter? It'll also help you raise money. It'll also create buzz. A lot of times by launching on Kickstarter, people like newspapers and reporters find out about interesting stuff. Bloggers, Instagrammers, they find out about the next hot product on Kickstarter. So that's why you might want to do it on Kickstarter before you do it on Amazon. It's also a better story. People, when I tell them my Performance Nut Butter story, which I didn't even go in depth, I'll link another video about my in-depth Performance Nut Butter story. When I tell them the full story, they love it because it really is kind of like a rags to riches story. Like I didn't have a lot of money and I raised all this money using Kickstarter. So Kickstarter creates a better story because it's not just like you have a rich uncle. Like I don't have a rich uncle. I don't have rich parents. I was able to raise my money by working hard and launching it as a Kickstarter. So it's a better story. So how to set up your Kickstarter, you're gonna do a pre-launch sequence. Basically, you're gonna get everyone really excited about your product before you ever launch. And the same thing's true for launching on Amazon. You're basically gonna get people excited. I'm not gonna go into detail about like the step-by-step on how to do this, but you're gonna tease at it. You're gonna tell people I'm launching on May 2nd, and you're gonna let people know you're gonna build up to it, just like they do with like movies. You're going to need a video for your Kickstarter. It's very easy to film. You could film it on your webcam if you really needed to. You can film it using your phone. I'd recommend your phone. It's probably better than a webcam. You're going to want to try to do some PR. Get some bloggers, Instagrammers, and stuff talking about you. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Next thing after the Kickstarter is manufacturer. How do you find a manufacturer? Well, one way to do it is Alibaba. It doesn't work for every product. My girlfriend's product, which is Vino cards, which we'll talk about later, she found a manufacturer through Alibaba. So here's some tips. You're only going to want to work with gold suppliers. Communicate only through Alibaba. Gold suppliers basically means that they're like a verified supplier, that they're good. Only send messages through Alibaba. That way you have like a trail, you have a paper trail, basically. Check the small print. They're going to make you, if they make you sign contracts, make sure you read over that contract and make sure to check the correct payment method because not all of them accept credit card or PayPal. It's up to you. Also, make sure you build rapport with your manufacturer. Like make sure that there's someone that you can trust. So make sure you negotiate well also. Like that's obvious, that's pretty obvious, but you might not have a lot of negotiating room in the early days, but later on you might get a little bit more. So some other tips for finding suppliers, because Alibaba isn't the only way to find suppliers. Google. You can still Google. You can go to trade shows, or even if you don't go to trade shows, go to the website of the trade show and find all the different manufacturers that went to that trade show and just start calling them. Jungle Scout. And Jungle Scout I don't use it for product research, but they have a really cool tool where you can basically find suppliers, you can find manufacturers, and you can basically you can go to someone's listing and you can figure out who their manufacturer is. So I'll put a link down below to Jungle Scout. And if you are going to use Jungle Scout, use my link and I'll give you a free one-on-one 30-minute consultation. I get a kickback from Jungle Scout anytime someone uses my link. Again, you don't need to use Jungle Scout, but if you're going to anyways, might as well use my link. You can also start just calling and emailing different manufacturers that you found through Google or that you found through different trade shows. So there's a ton of tips. Finding a supplier is not hard. Remember, their business exists to serve you. The only reason they're in business is because people like you hire them to make products. I know we're going over a lot of different things here. Stick with me for just a little bit longer. It's going to pay off. Again, I recommend watching this whole video first and then going back and taking notes because then all the different pieces it'll make sense like in what order they go. So how to create your listing. So the first thing you're going to do is keyword research. Keyword research is basically figuring out what words are people searching for to find your product. For instance, for me, keto snack is one of them. Nut butter might be another one. Healthy fat is another one. Like those are all the things that people are putting into Amazon to find my product. Photography. Make sure that your photography is on point. This is one of the most important things that so many people miss. Make sure that you take a good picture. Make sure you don't necessarily need a picture. You can also do a computer rendering. I'll talk more about that in my Facebook group. I have a Facebook group as well. If you join my email list, I'll give you information on how to join the Facebook group. Next up is the title. So if you ever look up my product, you can see longer titles tend to do better because you can put a lot of keywords in there, but you also want a title that's human readable, that people actually want to buy from. So if you just put a bunch of keywords in there and it didn't make any sense, people wouldn't buy from it. So crafting a title is very important. Bullet points. If you've ever seen an Amazon listing, there's those bullet points. This is a chance for you to talk about the benefits of your product. Talk about what makes your product amazing. The description is another chance to sell your product. Now, if you want more in depth on all these different things that I'm talking about right here, again, I'll link a video down below about how to properly create your listing. This is just a brief overview. Reviews is another thing. Honestly, like what determines whether you buy a product or not? A lot of it has to do with reviews. I've been lucky. My product has 4.5 stars on Amazon. Well, my competitor only has 4 stars. They're pretty similarly priced. Which one are you going to go with? Well, if you want the best one, you're going to go with the one with 4.5 stars, right? And that's what the other part for you is like, make sure when you're creating your listing, keep in mind the reviews is going to be very, very important. All right. So the last major thing before we get into the Q&A is how to launch your product. So again, you're going to want to get as many reviews as quickly as possible. You're also going to want to build hype. Before you ever launch your product, you're going to want to build a lot of hype about that your product's coming. You're going to tell all your Instagram fans. You're going to tell all the people on your email list. You're going to tell all the people in your Facebook launch group that your product's coming. And this launch group, like I was talking about, this is key to launching a product. In 2019, 2020, 2021, and going forward, a product launch group is something you're going to be hearing a lot more about. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't started a product launch group in the past, start a product launch group for the next Amazon product you launch, or if this is your first one, start it for this one. Emails, send out emails like a week before, 3 days before, the day before, like let people know, like create that buildup. And then once it's launched, that's when you really like hit everybody with a lot of emails. Let them know that this product is out there. And then of course, once you get some traction and you're making some sales on Amazon, there is pay-per-click. Again, I have a video on pay-per-click. I'll link that down below. I do like a complete tutorial on how to use pay-per-click to make money on Amazon. And finally, over time, you're going to optimize your listing and you're going to make it better and better. So like all the things I've talked about, I have more detailed videos on how to launch a product that I'll link down below. So make sure you check out that video if you want more information on this. But let's go over some of the questions, some of the common concerns I have or that people have when they deal with me. And remember, stick around till the end because I'm going to tell you how you can get my Amazon FBA course for free. I'm not going to be doing this forever. This is really to build some success stories, to build some testimonials. But I'm going to answer all these different questions. Feel free, if you need to fast forward a little bit if there's one question that's more interesting to you than others. So how much time do you need? Well, it really depends on how big of a company you want to create, how successful you want it to be. Like how much time do you need to spend on it? Well, I'd say once a week. If you can spend 1 day a week, about 2 to 4 hours a week, honestly, that's about all I spent when I was launching Performance Nut Butter. I launched Performance Nut Butter, working on Performance Nut Butter 1 day a week for 30 weeks, basically. So 30 days worth of work. And I was only doing about 2 to 4 hours a week. But again, it's a money versus time thing. If you don't have any money, that's okay. You're going to have to spend more time and energy trying to grow your brand, trying to start your company. But if you have some money, you can spend money to kind of fast track that. Like there's tools that you can buy if you want to that will help you build a brand quicker, that'll help you, do some of the shortcuts. For instance, if you're going to create a logo, if you don't want to spend any money creating a logo for your company, well, you can learn how to create a logo yourself, but it's going to take a lot more time, or you can just hire someone for somewhere between $5 to $800, depending on how good your logo is going to be. So how do you spend your spare time? Let me ask you that. Like, what do you do in your spare time? Do you have 2 to 4 hours a week that you could stop watching TV, that you could stop doing some mundane activity, that you could instead be investing in your future? Probably. That's my guess. So how much money do you need? $0. Like, honestly, you don't need a dime. That's the whole point of Kickstarter. Now, if you have, $200 or $500, that might help kind of grease the wheels and make things a little bit easier. Again, it's a money versus time thing. If you don't have even $500 to your name, honestly, I recommend just getting a job and saving up some money. But if you've got the money to spend, you don't necessarily need to. I didn't spend a lot of money to get started. You don't necessarily need to, but it might be worth it to kind of fast track your success. How long will it take? So starting from today to you launching your product and making an extra $10,000 a month like I am, how long will it take? 3 to 6 months. That's my realistic answer. And it depends. It could take longer. I think it could take shorter than 3 months, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say somewhere between 3 months. If you do everything really quickly and like really dedicate yourself, I think you can do it in 3 months. It took me about 6 months. It took my girlfriend about I don't remember if it took her 3 or 6 months actually. It took her right around in that range. Could I teach you how to do it in 3 months? Absolutely. But patience, my friend, like take your time and do this right. So let's go over next how much you can make. There's no limit. Like honestly, Apple was a passion product. Nike was a passion product. There's no limit. I'm going to talk about my income report soon. I teased it at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to go a little bit more depth in just a minute. How do I know if my product will sell? This is another question that people get to me. Test. You can use Jungle Scout to look at similar products, but finally, Kickstarter. what you're going to do, like I said, is you're going to launch it as a Kickstarter. And if people, like I raised $15,000 on Kickstarter, which meant that if $15,000 worth of people were willing to buy my product and they weren't going to receive that product for 3 months, I knew that it would be a winner on Amazon, because on Amazon you buy it and it shows up at your door in a day or 2 days. That's pretty crazy. So I knew that there was a market for it. So these are some ways that you can test. Also, I mean, you test on Instagram. Do people follow your Instagram account? Do they sign up for your email list? Do they interact with you? Like, is your idea good? You're constantly testing. All right, next, some of the what ifs, like, what if it doesn't work? Then you do another product. You test again, and the next product you're going to learn from your mistakes. My first company, B Dancewear, it worked. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't. It didn't help me hit my goal of $300 a day passive income. Performance Nut Butter now is making $400 to $500 a day passive income. So what if it doesn't work? Learn from your mistakes. I learned from the mistakes that I made with my first company, the dance clothing company. I learned that my first company, we had 88,000 SKUs. I didn't want to have 88,000 SKUs. I learned that I wanted to create a product that I was passionate about. So if it doesn't work, that's okay. Just keep moving forward. One of my favorite stories is, let me ask you, how long, let's say you have a kid. How long are you going to allow that kid to try to walk before you stop allowing them to walk? Like when they're a baby and they're learning to walk, the answer is you're going to let them take as long as it needs. So, and the same thing's true with you. If it takes you a little while to figure out how to walk in entrepreneurship, that's fine. But don't go into it with that mentality. Like, realize that your first time, if you follow my formula, there's a good chance it's going to work. Because like we're doing all this testing. I'm teaching you how to do this. So don't worry about the what ifs if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, we'll cross that bridge when we come. A thing you'll hear a lot of time is 4 out of 5 businesses fail. Well, here's the truth. First off, 4 out of 5 businesses fail within the first 5 years. You can make a lot of money within 5 years. The other thing is 4 out of 5 people are not on YouTube watching an hour-long tutorial video on how to start a business. 4 out of 5 people, they start a business and they're kind of not the smartest people, right? Like 4 out of 5 people that I've seen that start businesses, they've never read a book on entrepreneurship. They never even watched like a tutorial on how to properly start the company. So I'm going to tell you right now, I can honestly say if you've watched this far in this video, you're smarter than 4 out of 5 people that have tried to start a business. I wouldn't worry about this one so much. Finally, what do I do after the launch? Again, you're going to do some pay-per-click. You're going to use Shopify. You're going to want to get people buying from your own website. You don't want Amazon to own all the customers. So here's my income report. I think this is like a typical month for me. I do about $34,000 revenue. Now, keep in mind, I haven't put that much energy or time. Like since I've launched my product, Performance Nut Butter, I haven't put almost any energy into it. I've been putting a lot of energy, to be quite honest, into this YouTube channel because I really do want to like spread this method. And I really want to teach people because I found success in my opinion. Like I'm making enough money. You'll see in a minute. I'm making enough money that I'm happy. Like I don't need to create a multi-million-dollar company. I don't need to create the next, Quest Nutrition or the next Nike or whatever. So anyways, my revenue for a typical month, I think this is like last month, $34,000. I did about the product cost me money. Like it cost me money to buy the product. It's about $9,000 for the cost of the product. Amazon selling fees, they take I think this is the pick and pack fee. So every time they ship it out, they charge you a little bit. It cost me about $5,000. Transaction fee cost me about $4,000. Other Amazon fees, they take a few $100 there. PPC, all these different fees. At the end of the day, I'm walking away with about $12,000 a month. Now, a lot of gurus, a lot of people on the internet, they're going to tell you how much money they make revenue, and they're not going to share these numbers. I'm trying to be really transparent with you. Another secret for you, I've seen a lot of drop shippers especially, but also Amazon FBA people, that they say that they're doing $34,000 revenue, but what they don't tell you is they're spending about $10,000 on PPC and they end up with no profit. But they show off those numbers and they try to get people to buy courses. Again, I have a complete opposite business model. I'm making money off my company. I'm trying to get people into my course for free. Totally different business model. I'm really trying to help you out. So let me use one more example here, and then I'm going to tell you how you can join my course. That's going to be just a quick side note. My course is going to be done. The beta launch is going to be done in a few days. So if you are serious, I definitely recommend getting on it. I'll talk about in a second how to join for free. So Ariana's example, this is my girlfriend right here, my beautiful lady right here. I helped her start this company, Vino Cards. And what it is basically like a wine course in flashcard form. It basically teaches, you can see right there, like Chardonnay wine. It teaches people, it's like a wine game. It teaches people about wine. And as of right now, she's making an extra $600 a month. So let me ask you, I mean, I'm doing $10,000 a month, or actually it was closer to $12,000 a month. Her first time entrepreneur, like full-time job, just kind of doing this for fun on the side, is making an extra $600 a month. And that's growing. I think actually it's closer to $800 this month. If you can make an extra $600 a month, what would you do with that? Like, what would that be worth to you? And then what if you had a product that you were passionate about that you could grow and build? So like I said, I'm looking for beta testers. I'm willing to help for free in exchange for a testimonial. You can sign up. There's a link down below. You can sign up. Now, I'm going to warn you, I'm only looking for people that are serious. And what I'm asking for is a deposit. All I'm asking for is a deposit that guarantees that you're going to be successful. I call this a success deposit. And once you've gone through the steps of the course, once you've launched a product and given me like maybe a quick testimonial video, I will refund your deposit. Now, on top of that, 30 days money back guarantee. If you start taking the course and for any reason you don't like it, just tell me. I'll give you your money back. Like, no, I'm not trying to, there's no like weird catch there. So basically you got 30 days to decide if this course is right for you. And then you'll get your money back once you've launched the product. Now, the reason I do this is I've tried to help out a lot of people for free. And you know what? They say advice is what someone's willing to pay for it. And what I've realized is when I help out people for free, as soon as the going gets tough, they quit. And I don't want you to quit. I want to guarantee that you're going to be successful. And how I'm going to do that is by a deposit. And again, you're going to get that deposit back once you're successful. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you're successful. The course includes weekly calls, mastermind meetings, checklists, like step-by-step checklists, an idea generator tool, and of course, a ton of videos, way more. And I didn't go too much into the nitty-gritty in this video because I figured that if you want the nitty-gritty stuff, you can get into the course for free anyways. So anyways, the beta version of the course is only going to be available for basically another few days here. And then after that, if you click the link down below, it's going to go to a wait list and you're going to have to wait till the course officially gets launched. So if you're seeing this video a month in the future, still click on the link, get on the wait list for the course to be launched. But if you're seeing this video right now and you've made it this far, I want you to join this course. Click on that link, put in your deposit, and I can't wait to see you in the course, and I can't wait to help make you successful on Amazon.